All right, guys. So today for you guys, we have an Doom Tower video coming in with a collab with the one and only Chofly Elite Chosen here. What's up, man? How are you doing?
Yo, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I wanted you to come over to my channel since we just did a collab on your channel about the Doom Tower being the hardest bosses and how we rank them in terms of difficulty. For my channel, I thought we'll do something very similar in terms of the Doom Tower and how to help players out there just push through. And the way that they'll do that is to reevaluate on the champions that they have already available to them and which ones we consider the best ones. So we're not going to do any legendaries in this list because the majority of players out there have more epics rather than legendaries. So we're going to call out the good epics which helped us or can help an account out there for the stages and also the bosses. Any of the bosses for the Doom Tower, we each have our own 5 champions listed out. We will though say one of these is not included in any of our lists because this one is a very specific one, as the best epic out there for the Doom Tower is the one and only Seer, right?
Yeah, I mean, hands down, Seer is just absolutely insane. So good at clearing the waves. They don't even really have a legendary that can replicate what she does. So yeah, that would be the clear cut number one.
There's one champion in the game that does what she does, and that's Seer. There's no other champion that does such a significant impact to your account in terms of both pushing dungeons, pushing Doom Tower, an insane champion, end game. It totally transform your account to end game potential. Of course, it depends on many factors. Seer is
I think their goal, sorry to cut you off, just to extrapolate on that, I think their goal was to make Thea Tomb Angel the legendary version of Seer, like kind of wiping off hexes and nuking down waves and then resetting and nuking hexes. But they just haven't quite pulled off Hex and Thea and how she works with it. How they probably envisioned people using Thea instead of Seer, but it didn't quite work out like that.
They should have done it with Thea. Just we're going off, but I'm just gonna say they should have done Thea if there's a Hex, so any debuff is transformed into like an explosion, almost like a poison explosion. So maybe that would have been like an inverse version of what Seer does. But anyway, that's not our decision. Let's get started with your list first. Your first champion in your list. Go ahead, man.
You know, I started out with Allure, just because like she's just so good for all of those situations. Like Astronix is one of the tougher boss fights in the Doom Tower probably, and you just can't go wrong on getting an Allure built well. She is, you know, spoiler alert, she or disclaimer, she is very difficult to build because she needs basically every single stat. She needs crit rate, speed, tons of HP. Her base defense is super low, so she's very squishy. She needs accuracy, so like she's very tough to get geared properly. But if you do, she's just got so many uses in so many different areas of the Doom Tower. So you can't really go wrong with putting Allure on the list.
Yeah, she's definitely worth the investment. Getting at least one Allure to 60. I have 2 Allures on my account, and I haven't regretted that because she enables that quick farm of Dark Fae. There's teams out there that you utilize 2 Allures to keep that Terminator always low. She does the job, and I totally agree with that. It totally skipped my mind for my list, but you managed to put it on yours first. So let's get going with my champion in the list. Next is gonna be Silar. Okay, very similar in terms of Terminator manipulation. She's got that amazing A3. I always title her as a small version of Lysandra and what she can do with that A3. 40% Terminator reduction, decreased speed on all enemies, and then those A1 and A2, which is an AoE. If you give her a stun set, she becomes a very good crowd control champion, which enables you to push through those more difficult waves within the Doom Tower, because it's not just the bosses that are difficult. Some stages, especially those more too macabre stages, those can be very, very hard to push through, and you need to get lucky maybe with stuns, Terminator manipulation. She can definitely play a role in that for sure, no doubt.
Yep, and the A1, like you said, compared with the stun set, for sure. So yeah, like the Mortar Macabre stages and then the Siffy Roto stages are the 2 that really get people hung up, and you can kind of use her in high speed stun and kind of some speed suppression stun, CC suppression, and get good RNG and be able to kind of brute force those waves. So yeah, Silar is definitely amazing in any sort of wave fight, normal enemies context.
Let's go ahead with your next one on the list.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put Stag Knight on there just because he's so generally useful. Whenever I'm doing an account takeover, one of the first champions I look for is Stag Knight, just because so many different teams, he's like, he can find a way to get in there because he's got a multi-hit A1 that's gonna lower speed, so he's amazing for boss fights. He's also gonna break attack on an AoE, which is gonna make your whole team tougher, and he's also gonna break defense on an AoE to make your whole team do more damage. So as an epic champion, he just kind of does 3 big staples that you really need. So he's got to be on a list here for like general utility versus waves and bosses.
Yeah, I really like Stag Knight overall, as you said, for takeovers. But I'm gonna throw you like a trick question here. Do you prefer Stag Knight or the very similar but different in some ways through the Orcs faction? We have Duck the Pierced.
Yep. I would say Stag Knight. I think Stag Knight's a little bit more consistently useful, but like Stag Knight and Yuck and Ugo, like very kind of similar concepts there.
I tend to agree with that. Although there's different uses for both. Stag Knight is better because he doesn't need to crit. As Duke, he needs to crit in order to do his full potential. Well, Stag Knight, you can just max him out with other stats and not having to worry about all the others. So my list, the next one is gonna be Rector Drath. Rector Drath, at first, I would say that I was considering her not so much as such a great champion for any area in the game, but the more that I utilized her in lower end accounts, the more I used her, the more I found that she is great. Decrease attack on the A1. You can't go wrong with that, especially for bosses. She's got a big heal on the A2 with an okay cooldown 4 turns, plus Perfect Veil and continuous heal through it. Then we have the revive on the A3, single target revive though, but again 4 turn cooldown, not so bad. It does heal, boost turn meter, Perfect Veil, provides big protection. She's got a great passive in terms of added resistance plus healing, and then she also has a Doom Tower aura, 55 resistance, which is pretty high. It's not 80, which is the highest I think we have overall, but it's still very, very good for Doom Tower if you ever want to get that high resistance.
Yeah, Rector is just such a generally useful epic. One of the best epics they've kind of designed and released. She's also a game changer for the Knight Rev faction wars. So on top of her Doom Tower utility. So yeah, I love that choice. She's awesome. She's awesome in the Hydra too. She's just a great epic in general.
Next one.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna put Doompriest on there just because like the passive ability of constantly cleansing debuffs is just so good. Buff manipulation is one of the strongest things in Raid. Placing debuffs on your opponents or cleansing debuffs that are on you is obviously the super suppressive thing to do to the battlefield. And Doompriest constantly with the AoE, every single turn you get her in Relentless, you get her in high speed, whatever. She's just constantly wiping those away, and I think you just get so much utility out of her in so many different situations that she's great for a list like this.
Yeah, she was so unique up until Tuhanarag came into play. But even with Tuhanarag, Doompriest does provide that unique healing plus the cleanse. So she's unique in her own way, and so simple kit, but yet so strong. Is just, yeah, I've used her more times than I can count for fighting those very specific encounters where, oh, I wish I had a cleanse right here for that one single debuff on my team. Oh, I wish I had some sort of healing. And then the added buffs that you can also provide, it's just bonus, right? So,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for my list, the next one is gonna be Geomancer. Geomancer, even though people thought he was nerfed with a very recent patch, he's still so good. Specifically for the Doom Tower, his A1 shines because the decreased accuracy helps you resist possibly some nasty debuffs from bosses, or like the increased cooldowns on Eternal Dragon, right? So he works for that one. Geomancer's HP burn does a lot of damage because of that passive that he has. He reduces the damage your team can take. He can steal buffs. He can steal turn meter. Insane overall kit for an epics. He does so much stuff with such low cooldowns that you cannot not have him in the top 10 list.
Yeah, he's yeah, no, like everything you said. I love their concept of Geomancer as well. He definitely filled a role that needed to be filled for an epic champion to kind of slide in there and be good at that as an option. So yeah, I love that choice.
Right. Yours. Next one.
Okay, I'll go with Deacon Armstrong, just because he brings an aura, he brings extra turn, snowballing, he brings like speed, turn meter, just everything kind of in general that he has with his kit as an awesome support. He's got the same aura as Duchess, so help you hit those speed thresholds for runs, and I love filling turn meter and decreasing your enemies. So it's like a Lysandra, kind of a budget Lysandra, but it also grants an extra turn. So it's just kind of like a bonus thing he does, while
Yeah.
also breaking defense of everybody, and A1 that places leech for those boss fights, so giving your whole team kind of a pseudo lifesteal. So in a similar vein to Stag Knight, just kind of generally useful, and as an epic champion, you can't ever really go wrong having Deacon kind of fill a bunch of those roles for your team.
Yeah, and he does have short cooldowns, right? You can run him with different sets. Have you ever tried him with a stun set? Just
I have
because of those.
not. Like you could though. You could, because he's
Yeah,
got the. I typically try to run it with people that that are going to be doing more than one turn of AOE. He's only got the one turn of AOE, but he does get the
yeah,
extra turn, so he kind
yeah.
of cycles a little bit fast. So yeah. I mean, I don't know. He could do it, but I don't think he'd be like S tier with stun set or anything.
Yeah, yeah. I find that it's the decision to give him a stun set is tricky, and it depends on the champs that you have already. But it's definitely a choice out there because of his short cooldowns, and that he can just manipulate Terminator. And then if you get lucky with the stuns, he just becomes even better. You know. My list, the next one, it's gonna be not so much like a damage champion. He never shines in terms of damage. We're gonna go over to the undead hordes, to Vogoth. Vogoth is so unique in terms of the healing that he can provide, that I found he's better than other champions. Although I could include in this list maybe a reviver such as Gorgrab. I mean, great reviver, or Mausoleum Mage, great support overall. I found that Vogoth can be so good in terms of healing your whole team when big AoEs happen. So big damage comes into everybody. He heals his team. Works very well in Eternal Dragon and Bummel. So there's like a double Vogoth team that makes Bummel much easier. So Vogoth is definitely worth the investment, I would say, at least for the Bummel rotation. So he definitely is a top 10 for me. What you think?
Yeah. And he's awesome as far as an epic that can crank out heals and really help you put together super specific teams, like you said. So I've used a Vogoth a lot, and there's even, like you said, cool strategies around two of him. So yeah, no, as far as a support healer that unlocks certain strategies for you, definitely an awesome champ.
Yeah, yeah. And we only have one in our list left each. So which one's yours?
I just did a video on this one because she was featured as a summoning event for Void Shards, but I think Godseeker Aniri is an
All right.
insane epic with the multiple revives and just kind of like the manipulation of buffs again, like I said, like the extending duration of debuffs that you have on enemies, and increasing the duration of buffs that you have, so you can speed tune her to go at an optimal time to kind of increase everything your team is doing, both for buffs and debuffs on enemies, with all the revive and toughness and healing and things that she's doing with her kit. I just think she's, as a Void affinity, going to be an awesome support champion in general for almost any strategy.
Right. I totally agree with Godseeker. I find I like her more and more. The more I use her, the more I start to like her. She was one of the first few epics on my free-to-play account that I did last year. And I was just so happy with her because the more books I put into her, the cooldowns dropped, the healing increased. It's just an amazing overall kit that she can provide for all areas, even clan boss. I found that she was very solid in there. And yeah, Doom Tower, sometimes you need those quick revives, and with the added cooldown reset, it just becomes crazy good, right? So
Yeah,
finally
for
for
sure.
my list, while we're recording right now, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't include a champion that is a reward from the Doom Tower in a Doom Tower list. But then I thought again, okay, wait, you kind of have to include him because he is a slow progression kind of reward. Archmage Hellmuth. It's not like you're gonna unlock him immediately, or you're gonna unlock him at the minimum time required. So 3 months. So times 12, 12 secret rooms times 3 months, you unlock him. It's not like that. You can unlock him even slower than that. But once you unlock him, he enables you to push through Doom Tower hard so much easier because of his kit. His kit is very unique. And the more higher caliber champions you have with him, the better he becomes. That A2 is fantastic. A short cooldown AoE stun. Okay. Plus a decrease in turn if you don't get the stun going. He has great amount of buffs, increased speed, critical rate, critical damage, which benefits your nuker champions, makes your runs faster, enables you to do fast runs in dungeons as well. And the A1 has an added boost in turn meter. I totally think that this guy works so well with Seer, who although was not in our list, it just opens up the possibilities for so many things in many accounts, and just an MVP. But to be fair, again, if I didn't have him in my list, maybe I would go for in the secret order, I would go for Cardinal. Avoid support, which has an AoE revive plus turn meter feel, which can help you come back from a bad situation in terms of pushing. It can help you when there's no block revive against you, so you keep on having you can have an auto team which you can ignore, and you know that as long as you go Cardinal in there plus maybe another reviver, your team is going to push through slowly, and you can have like an auto team setup and just let it go. So that's my list of a 5+1.
Nice honorable mention there. Yeah, I remember back in the day when like there was a data mine leak or whatever of Archmage's kit, and we all were kind of talking in our private chats about like, have you seen this this epic? We didn't know it was gonna be a Doom Tower champion. We thought it was just gonna be like a new champion added to shards. They ended up putting Archmage in the and that was like back when Inquisitor got leaked and Archmage
right. It feels like ages ago, but yeah, I remember that the screenshots of the weird names that they have, the placeholder for their skills. Yeah, it feels like, yeah, Doom Tower was a good addition to the game, and it definitely added to the strategy and the possibilities to build teams behind the game. So we don't have just the dungeons anymore. We have the Doom Tower, where the more difficult encounters they add, if they add any more in 2022, we discussed it a little bit in your video. Maybe we can see even more unique situations, unique champions pop up and be great again. So thanks, man, for coming over. Thanks a ton for this collab, guys. If you didn't check out our video over on Chosen's channel, definitely go check it out right now. I'm gonna put links down in the description. Go sub to his channel as well. Sub to mine if you haven't already for some reason and you're still watching by now. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you soon.
Later.